What's up, my XRP brothers from another mother and my cute XRP sisters? This is Rob with the Rob 007 channel, coming to you from beautiful, spectacular, stunning weather, quite frankly. Venice Island, absolutely gorgeous day down at the beach, 5 out of 5. And the title of this episode is All's Quiet on the XRP Western Front. Too quiet. Watch this episode to the end. Probably won't be the episode, the title of it, but we'll get to it. And also, thank you as always. The last episode we did, closing in on 15,000 views. OMG, with this 6,000 subscribers. So appreciate each and every one of you. And welcome my new 100 plus subs. I think we're about 130 new subs. But indeed, if you are new to this channel, if you would hit the subscribe button to subscribe, the bell for notification, that like button, tap it, slap it, whatever you are feeling for a hump day. And if you do Twitter, follow me at Rob XRP007 on Twitter. Love my XRP Twitter family. And also don't forget about my #1 place to custody my XRP now, which is iTrustCapital. Links in the description. Actually, there's a link in the description, and you got to use the promo code Rob007. And when you sign up, you'll get a signing bonus of $100. And then my top big 3 reasons why I like them is they have 0 fees, unbelievable, and then they're to execute a trade's only 1%, unbelievable, and they will be rolling out an ROI. Look for it maybe in Q4, probably most likely Q1, no later than that, on your XRP. That's called Have Your Cake and Eat It Too, down by the beach. And also, if don't forget about Caleb and Brown. I can think of so many reasons why I have my Caleb and Brown. I just think back to that liquidity event that we had, being that it's also just institutional grade custody, and they have no fees to custody over there. But the biggest reason why is that when we go into the banana zone, just for an example, it's like I could have just said, you know what, if XRP, I could have put in a sell order for like, or buy order for like 8,000 XRP if it reaches $2, right? And just have it in there. So when we had that liquidity crisis that you couldn't even buy or sell on exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, and Uphold, guess what? You would pick you up some, and you would have been able to say, yeah, I bought the dip. Links in the description. Tell them Rob sent you. Shout out to you, Jim Balzini. Look forward to speaking with you and again, have you on this channel. And last but not least, the Kraken Fund continues. You get $75 when you open up an account and you trade $200. That's a 40% ROI in a day. What's not to like about that? Get both your iTrust and your Kraken. And I love, I get tight trades over on Kraken. That's my favorite place to trade. And last but not least, if you want an ROI on your XRP, OMG, and to have the highest grade of institutional custody that is available out there, email me your name and number and a good time to call. I will reach out to you. And yes, I'm so excited about this. And I mean, I'm smiling like the cat that ate the canary on this. So, and a shout out to Rod up in New Jersey. Not financial advice, but I just shared with him, time's of the essence, brother. Get busy. And also a shout out to Kim up in the beautiful bluegrass state of Kentucky. Congratulations for having the presence of mind to discover and hodl XRP. So very happy for both of you guys. And also in the comments, Twin Turbo says, Hopium Bros, hang in there. This thing will swing back $5 XRP soon. Thank you for the comment, my friend. Be still my XRP beating heart. And this, you know what? If you want a video that will pump you up, watch the one from my last episode on, it's called a $300 XRP cakewalk. Yes, you guys loved it. Or watch it again if you need to be pumping up today. Today's going to be a little bit kind of different because I'm laser focused on the short term. But currently we got Bitcoin trading at 110,730. And then I have XRP. We're at $2.43%. It's down 3% our XRP, and then Bitcoin's down about 1.5%. And yes, the wild west of XRP continues. It is the market's currently heavy manipulation. Is an understatement. And prepare both ways. So you can prepare for the dip and prepare if it goes up. So that's a good way to look at it. Prepare for those what? Opportunity. I hear opportunity knocking regardless. Brewmaster Brent also concurs, talking about how Nathaniel Rothschild says has a very bad feeling. 90% of crypto so it goes on to say 90% of crypto will go away. Where have we heard that before? Can you say Brad Garlinghouse? Indeed, has said that as well. So yeah, and he actually is talking about the manipulation going on as well. Don't know if this is his actual account. Brent did do a little kind of surfacing. That gentleman is actually born in 71. So, and for a little TA down by the beach. This is from CoinsKid. He says, God candle back test. That's what we got. He sees a range of $1.90 to a box, just call it like a gap of $1.90 to $2.50. Yes, we are range bound within that box. And he's thinking that, yes, a reversal is not too far away. And just a reminder, you guys, that we have a 71% probability that XRP closes green in October, and that will make it in October. But if we get those spot XRP ETFs, say hello to Rocktober, baby, and it's going to be a rocket ride up. And so Ripple, line them up, fill them up, knock them back. More breaking news. The first African financial institution, one of the largest too, is going to be a custody partner with Ripple. So this first one in Africa. Great to see. And the quote of the day, this is from, who was it that said this? Poolside Chad says, set up the rocket boosters. Watch your guru talking about the Fed board saying that we got 2 rate cuts coming in, one in October, that's October 29th, and the other one is December. And that's the other thing I forgot about, because I said 2 things I'm really super excited about. That's the third one, 2 are those rate cuts. And this gets real interesting. I started my morning. I love watching Patrick David, his valuetainment, and has such great guests, such great content. You guys all might have remembered he did a video on XRP not long ago. He's got about like 1.2 million subscribers on that channel, and then he did a great video talking about how XRP could potentially replace SWIFT, and that XRP could go to $1,000. And you guys remember that. So he's great pulpit to introduce XRP to the masses. Well, they were talking crypto again and crypto manipulation, and they had Anthony Pompliano, just a lot of people just know him as Pomp, and this is really interesting. So they're talking about, and the first thing that Pomp says is that Bitcoin's going to be the backbone of the financial system. I'm sorry, I got to check a little bit like this. And he said, whole focus is on that. Can't believe it. It's talking about that. And then, of course, Patrick said, well, what do you think about XRP and Ripple? Gets so interesting, his reply. He says, Ripple, they're doing a couple of interesting things. I know Brad. Well, I'm not sure how well he knows him. He's like, I know Brad. And then he says, they are making a few acquisitions. And he cites the Hidden Road. And so they're talking about Hidden Road for about 5 minutes and what Hidden Road actually does, being a prime broker, which I thought Pomp would have a little more knowledge on that than he does, because he comes from the old world of finance on the Wall Street side. And then he's talking about the other one like Medico, and I think there was a third one in there. Well, anyway, so when it comes down to it, about saying about the RLUSD, and Patrick said, well, could Ripple, XRP, could they potentially replace SWIFT? And Pomp replies, I wouldn't hold my breath. I'm sorry, I got to chuckle really, really good. So Remy Relief kind of says it best. And I find it so fascinating too. It's kind of like, look over here at this shiny object while we're doing the opposite. And Remy Relief says, tell me that you're clueless about XRP without telling me you're clueless. 100% Remy. So we got to move on. So anyway, guess what? Yeah, that was so cool about him asking for that. And I gotta say, because I gotta go back to like whether it's Jamie Morgan telling employees they cannot buy any Bitcoin, and while he's loading up on the same time. And so when they finally mention it, it's because they're going to use you as exit liquidity. So make zero doubt, the BlackRocks, the Chase, all of them are getting as much as they can. They're staying quiet. Mum's the word about it. They don't want to let the golden goose out of the bag. And then when they're ready and it's all set to go and they can use you as exit liquidity, they'll say buy XRP. Best for last as we wrap up this episode. And I'm so fired up on this day. And I got to say, are we 24 hours? Are we 48 hours? At max, are we only 72 hours away from having our first XRP spot ETF? And like I said, I got 2 things that I'm excited in the next 2 weeks. That's number one, these ETFs. And I said, once we do, and I said, and then the question becomes, and also in the same vein, from Kenny Wynn, shout out to you, Kenny, says Grayscale spot ETF, the 4B filing now live. And that appeared on the Federal Register on October 14th. They're set to be, for that to possibly go live or be approved this Saturday on the 18th. And again, they don't, from what I understand, we'll find out, they don't necessarily have to say, yes, you're approved. It just goes live, okay? Or it just automatically approved unless they come out and say, no, it's not approved. So expect that. But then the big question is, will we get just one on Saturday, or could we get them all? So one, we're off to the races. It's great, but could we get them all? And boom, this is from John Squire, speaking of ETF as well. We got another one, a 5X XRP ETF filed with volatility shares. That's a good name for that on the 5X, don't you think? And also, yeah, if we get one, that's beautiful. We get all, and we're talking about a Ripple, ride, rocket ride at that point. And it's just going to be a beautiful Ripple. By the way, here's the other number 2 thing I'm so excited about, that bank license. And you know what? Pomp didn't mention anything about the bank license. And actually, when he was talking about RLUSD, he's going, yeah, but there's really stiff competition. Understand, they're going up against USDT, and they're going up against Circle, and they're going up against Stripe. What he fails to tell you, Pomp, is that there's a little thing called the Genius Act that was passed for stablecoin. RLUSD is the only one that complies and meets with that standard. USDT doesn't, Circle doesn't. So you might want to rethink that. And then when it came to the Ripple banking license, did he mention anything? No, mum's the word. And the same thing on top of that, the federal master account. That, my friends, is a game changer. That is a ripple of a seismic proportion heard around the financial world. If we get that, again, talk about this shaking up the whole industry. And so that's going to be amazing. And then we'll add into that, all happening within 2 weeks, rate cuts on the 29th. So that's a lot can happen. When we sit at 243 and you're thinking, no, it's just going in the wrong direction. Rob, let's get to $3 before we get 300. Yeah, so things are about to, and if you've been in this space, you know how fast and how violently XRP can move. And again, the whole Fibonacci thing, I just throw those, that's fun, but I'm here for real use case XRP utility. Is what I'm here for, not financial advice. Yeah, in the financial banking system, they'll just realize how money is about to change the way it's being moved. And SWIFT, by the way, don't need them, won't need them, right? And then SWIFT, will they adopt XRP? Will they be using XRP Ledger? Time will tell. But Ripple can just go direct with their Ripple National Trust Bank. We'll be talking about that. So many things are going to unfold once that, if they do get approved. Wait for all sorts of announcements on the way that is going to be used and who's going to be using it, right? Think Fed now. And by the way, the things that will impact the price, always have these little things I know will impact the price of XRP, such as the ETFs. And we've talked about a lot of these on this channel, and also, but one of them that I didn't have that I added in there, this can make a significant impact, was the RLUSD being used as a line of credit for the traditional IPO market on the New York Stock Exchange side of the equation, the NASDAQ, as where they helped Gemini with their IPO. Well, I got another one that's 10 times more massive in that, and that's none other than BlackRock. And if you watched all those BlackRock videos yesterday of Larry Fink, talk about a man who looks like the cat that ate the canary. He's twice as bad as Brad Garlinghouse. When Brad Garlinghouse has his little smile on his face. He couldn't contain himself with excitement. And what we were talking about, what we mentioned in the last episode, is that new Texas Stock Exchange in the great state of Texas, which is being built out between BlackRock and Citadel. And that Texas Stock Exchange, the entire thing, everything listed on there will be tokenized. Didn't realize the impact of what that means, but what it means is, if you can imagine a world of traditional finance in the New York Stock and Exchange and the NASDAQ, that you have Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right? And I think that now they're extending it where, with this, it's like on the Texas Stock Exchange, will you have Monday through Sunday, 9 to 5? Will you have Monday through Sunday, 24/7 access to be able to buy and sell stocks, tokenized stocks? That is really insane. Larry Fink knows it. He says what that will do for the opportunity for people to create wealth and make money in the markets when they can do it 24/7 in real time. He says it's an absolute game changer. And then the biggest thing, think about the absolute volume that the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ does. I looked it up ever so briefly. I will say annually it is in the trillions. So another big, huge thing that will move the needle. I cannot wait. If you guys end up seeing stuff about when that stock exchange is going to open up for business, when they turn the lights on, it says come on in. I think it will be in Q1. Comment down below if you do know that. And also, as we wind up this episode, I'll leave with a comment from Juliez from the last episode. She says, I'm still hoping for Jake's prediction for the end of the year, for the price of XRP by the end of the year. And if you don't know, that's 3 digits, not just a 3-digit. Can you say $750 per XRP? And we're talking, we only roughly have 79 days left, 79 or 78 days left till the end of the year. And yes, Jake, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He has a bet on that. And that bet, it's a sizable bet. It is huge, absolutely. And so to conclude this episode, I'm going to just talk about what we can expect with these ETFs, because if we get one, if we get all of them, like I said, my belief, and it's not financial advice, is that this will paint that we will go to $20, and that $20 will become the floor on which we build off of. It may not happen immediately to $20. Maybe we go to 5, we go to 8, we go to 10, we go to 15, but we go to 20. But that 20 is going to represent a bottom floor as we build up. Jake Clavers is on record saying that he thinks that the spot ETFs can push XRP as high as $100 to $200 per XRP. So that XRP elevator is about to go up, and there's nothing that you can do because the financial titans at the gate are about to get unleashed. However, we might have either a Tether Bitcoin crisis or a liquidity crisis, in which case that XRP elevator just might take the express elevator all the way up. It could end up landing at 500, 1,000, 2,000. I don't know. We'll see. If it does, you know what I'm thinking. It's time for a bigger boat. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.